Good morning. We are live on YouTube on the Falcons Podcast, but we want to be live on Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to bring in Atlanta Falcons fans on All Falcons and Scott Kennedy Sports. We'll get those cranked up and then we'll get going. So welcome in, everybody. This is the Falcons Podcast, and it is a mock draft Monday. I will be your host, Scott Kennedy. Nick Kendall out in Seattle will join me shortly. He's got daddy duty this morning, so we're going to take care of some business here. Say hello to some folks, kind of set up the show, and then we're going to finish with a mock draft. Now, we haven't done too many mock drafts. We've only done maybe one or two and just gone through the first round. After spending 3 days in Mobile and going through most of that video, I have to go through the lines again and everything. I've got a much better grasp on guys that could be available on day 2 and day 3. So we're going to go 7-round mock draft today. We'll go about 30 minutes on the show today and then call it a day. Then we'll go have our full show on Wednesday where we'll go for an hour. We go live on this show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because we like having the interaction with y'all. We like hearing your questions. That way I'm not just sitting here monologuing. And I want to say hello to some folks that have come in nice and early, like Henry Monsta coming in. Says, good morning, Scott. Most intriguing and anticipated press conference coming up today. I guess so. I don't get overly excited about press conferences. I had to look it up when I saw this. I'm like, okay, it is a Raheem Morris press conference. It seems like it's taken a while for that to get out. So I'll have some clips cut out for y'all, and I'll drop them on the Atlanta Falcons Facebook page for sure, which is Atlanta Falcon, or it's All Falcons ATL. So Facebook.com, All Falcons ATL. I'll make sure I'll put those there for sure for y'all. Michael Ranquillo, he's in nice and early. Says, good morning, Scott and Nick on the Falcons Podcast. Michael's out in Arizona, so he's up bright and early with us today. Floyd Donnelly saying, good morning, my Falcons family. Bubba Gumpin's in here with his black and red. Good to see you. John Harrell, he's in the house as well. Appreciate everything you do for us, John. He says, good morning, Scott and Nick and the family. Who are you taking, Turner or Verse? I know a lot more about Turner, and it seems like right now I'm just kind of going with the flow. I'm one of those sheep right now. So it seems like the consensus is Dallas Turner is a higher rated prospect. So that's where I would go now, but that's not based on any of my own views other than what I've just aggregated. So I want to be clear with that with y'all. I always like to say, I like to tell you what I see. I like to show you what I see. That's why I take a video camera with me everywhere. And if I don't know, I'll let you know. So I don't have any big scouting reports on Verse. I've seen Turner. I've watched Alabama play a lot more than I've watched Florida State play. And I like Turner. I like Turner a lot. Right now, based on what I know, I would take Turner. But that's nothing against Verse at this point. Nick will be better at that. He's watched much more of them. So we'll make sure we get that question again. Red Swarm says, good morning, everyone. Praying that everyone has a magnificent Monday. Rise up. It's already going fast. We're already burning through the first week of February, which is kind of good news. You know, when you get older, you want things to slow down a little bit. But I got baseball games this week. I'm excited. I'm excited about high school spring baseball kicking off. That's kind of where where do you spend your free time? Well, it's kids sports. That's where I still spend mine. So I'm looking forward to it. Roderick Cook says, afternoon, guys. Eagerly awaiting the press conference later. Here, let me give you a preview. We're going to get this thing turned around. Arthur Smith did some good things. We got a good roster. We got a lot of work to do in the draft and the preseason and free agency, but I got a lot of faith in Terry Fontenot, and Arthur Blank's a great owner, and he'll back us, and we're looking forward to getting work there. I just saved y'all some time. There's a lot of I always go back to Bull Durham. You know, you got to learn your cliches. You got to love them. They're your friends. So we ought to set up a cliche bingo card for some of these press conferences. Floyd follows up. He says, we're going to be better this year. I'd almost bet you. I think you can go ahead and bet you. Again, you start looking at things. There's some of the one-year free agents that you start wondering, okay, how would this team get worse? Okay, the two quarterbacks, okay, that was a problem, but they're still there. You'd think that they could improve. You didn't really lose anything out of your wide receivers. You got Drake London, but they got the wide receivers down the line. Van Jefferson got the most snaps. He was pretty terrible in Atlanta Falcons uniform. No offense to him, but it just didn't work. On the defensive side of the ball, you're losing Calais Campbell more than likely. That's a big one. Bud Dupree could be available to come back. That's a big one. You're hoping to get Troy Anderson back, and then you've got time. You're losing Jeff Okudah, who played about half the season, but you've got time to replace those guys. So from a personnel standpoint, I absolutely agree. This team should improve again, and then hopefully you get better cohesion on the offensive side of the ball without losing much on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe even improving with some personnel. So it should be good to go. Another PR. He likes these spring sports too. In the middle of winter, he says, just taking a peek, softball league game. I'll catch the replay. We'll have fun. Hit them where they ain't. Michael Lewinsky saying good morning, Scott. Nick, good morning to you as well. Michael, thank you for the care package. Island Mike, speaking of PR sending one from Puerto Rico. It's keeping me filling out my shirt with those like cookies that are coconut chocolate. Oh God, they're good. Mike Paul's good to see you. Good morning, Scott. Have a good one. Thank you. Nando's in here as well. Says, good morning, Scott. Good morning to you, Nando. Hope you're doing well. Dave Glassman's here. Keith and Ellen Johnson, good morning. Appreciate your videos. Who really impressed you? Let's get into this just a little bit. The videos that I've been putting them on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Scott Kennedy, and I've been putting them on the Facebook channel that is not Falcons oriented, which is facebook.com/Scott Kennedy Sports. And I've been impressed by a lot of guys, Keith and Ellen Johnson. One of the guys I probably like the best, and I'm gonna drop this here. I'm gonna show you a video here real quick because I haven't posted this one yet, and this is a clean copy of it. Darius Robinson, we talked about him. I think I called him Demetrius because I heard myself say Demetrius last night. Darius Robinson, Missouri. I looked up on Google. I'm like, who the hell is Demetrius Robinson? Well, he played wide receiver at Auburn. That might have been it. Number 6, this is him. He's lining up. And what you'll see about this defensive end here is the first 4 clips, I think, of this little montage are at 4 different positions against 4 different positions on the offensive line. So you start him out here. He's at outside left defensive end. That's Tyler Guyton at tackle. He's coming off against the right tackle. Okay. Little push, pull, and a swim. Look out, coach. Bounces back. You see how light on his feet he is, athletic. Here he is against left tackle. Little inside swim move. Okay. All right. Well, let's move him inside. This is him over center. Another nice swim move. Violent hands, gets the guy rocked back and then swims over him. And this is him against left guard. Spin move inside. So, and this is just this is against Christian Haynes out of UConn, just a little bit of a talking about how you can hold up against the rush. That's how they really started those. I'm like, this doesn't make much for highlights, but it's kind of an idea of it's almost like a tug of war in reverse. Just go head to head and see if you can hold your spot. So that was a guy that really impressed me. And when I'm looking at him and his all black there and his little single digit number right there playing outside, I'm like, okay, outside linebacker or, edge. What's the size on this guy? So, I look it up here and I go and I scroll down and I find my roster and I say, all right, Darius Robinson, DL, 6'5", 286, 35-inch arms, 85-inch wingspan. That's 7'1". 85-inch wingspan, 7'1" wingspan. 200, and he'll play, 290 pounds and 6'5", and he's beating guys. Like I said, I wasn't just hyperbole. He's inside, he's outside, he's right side, he's left side, and he was beating all of them. He came into this thing, if you look at NFL Mock Draft Database, at their overall rankings, he was about 150, maybe not quite that far down. Maybe he was that far down. He played like a first rounder to me, y'all. So for whatever that's worth, we'll see. I said if this was all I was watching, was just the Senior Bowl practices and the evaluations that go on there, if that's all I knew, he was the best prospect there. So that was the kind of performance he had with that size, that position. Keep an eye on Demetrius Robinson, Mizzou. I am a big fan. I'd be real interested to do my background check. Before I'm going to drop a first round and $20 million on a guy, I want to know more. I want to know how he played every down and not just when the spotlight was on him with, 80 NFL coaches watching. I want to see how he does down to down and what he was like at Missouri, character, all that type of stuff. Now I want to do my research on him. But from the physical standpoint, Darius Robinson was the guy. Speaking of the guy, here comes Nick Kendall in. Daddy dude coming off daddy duty. Nick's the guy here coming in. Appreciate you making time for us, Nick. I know it's nice and busy.
Yeah, it's sleep has been hard between, and taking a little bit of the trying to get him fed before doing the shows and whatnot, so Natalie can try to get some sleep. She's a horrible sleeper as it is, so this has been just not good for her. But we are making do and excited to talk a little ball.
Yeah, we'll get like I said, you know the guys a lot better as far as. So one of the questions that we had coming in here, I think it was from John. Yeah, from John Harrell. Who would you take, Dallas Turner or Jared Verse right now?
I would take Dallas Turner. I think he's got more athletic upside. I think he is a more explosive player. I think he's got more versatility. I didn't want to say totally versatility, but if you're looking for your more classic 4-3, 3-point stance, hand in the dirt kind of guy, Verse brings a little bit more pop to that. But Turner has got a little bit more hybrid ability to him. I think he's got a little bit better bend, a little bit better pop, younger player as well. So I would take I would take a Turner in a head-to-head.
And if we throw in Latu in there, what about that? Because he looks pretty good too, 260 pounds, and just a very instinctive pass rusher. Good motor. The medical history, but he's played 25 straight games at UCLA. I don't think that looks to be too big of an issue anymore.
He's probably my third edge rusher. He might be the best pass rusher of the group right now because he's so in his bag, but I think he's the least athletically gifted of the three. You mentioned the medicals. He's older as well. And honestly, I don't know if there's a chance that he only ever is a designated pass rusher because he doesn't bring it as an edge setter pretty much at all right now. I do not see the ability to pop in that way and set the edge. So I think early on, probably a third down player. And needs to get a little bit better at the physical part of first and second down.
Yeah, he's big enough to get it done. I just wonder if that's a mentality or if it's he's so technically gifted. Is he a little soft? At 260 pounds, he's got the junk in the trunk to set an edge. So where do you think he's lacked there? Have you seen him get engaged and get pushed back, or have you seen him avoid engagement?
I see him get engaged and pushed back, and I see issues with guys just kind of engulfing him. I really see the lack of length show itself, not in pass rush, but in run defense, which is a concern with me for him. But he's the most
keeping guys out of your chest and keeping them from getting their hands on you and stuff.
Yep.
Gotcha. Keith, thank you for the stars, my friend. Appreciate you coming in and supporting the show over there on our Falcons Facebook page. So thank you, my friend. Joe Misses, good morning, Scott, Nick, and the rest of y'all. That's all y'all. And Nick's here now. Rattler looked good. He has a live arm. Spencer Rattler, quarterback, South Carolina. His videos, I think I did put those on all of the channels that you're watching. I think I did put his videos on there. Spencer Rattler may have done, if he's didn't do the most to help himself, he's right in an argument for the most to do the most to help himself at the Senior Bowl, Nick.
Yeah, I think probably. I mean, the stuff on the field, we knew he had a live arm. I wish he'd have measured a little bigger. Honestly, that's my big concern, is that he's a little small, teetering that Baker Mayfield line for me in terms of the size, but at least he's a little thick and pretty good on the move. But the arm is live, and I heard that he did well for himself overall in the interview process as well. So I'm expecting him to be a round 3 pick right now at this point. And from also talking with people in the know that were boots on the ground down there and, in the or have in their ear some NFL connections, there's a chance that Rattler goes before Penix because of the age and the injury stuff with Michael Penix.
Yeah, he was 6 foot 212, 219. So again, the Baker Mayfield comp is solid on that one. Let me see on here. I want to say hello to some folks. Michael Ranquillo comes in. He says, I read Drake May could slide in the NFL like Will Levis did. There was talk about Will Levis from the very beginning, him and then Anthony Richardson, of like, what are people watching? Like the tape, the interceptions, the production did not match the draft hype. That's not really the case with Drake May. I haven't seen anybody really say Drake May's gonna. I mean, if you look hard enough, Michael, and you know this, you can find somebody saying something about everything. It's out there. And then people pick it up because they want the content and they make a story. But realistically, I don't think Drake May goes below 3 at worst. It's just it's the quarterback. If anybody's going to slide for some reason, I feel like it would be Jaden Daniels, and I don't think he's going to slide either. Quarterbacks 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's a possibility. Let's say I've mentioned it on here before. Let's say the Patriots, Jaden Daniels doesn't match their archetype, and they are infatuated with Marvin Harrison Jr. There is a chance that then I could see them skipping quarterback and taking MHJ, the best player in the draft, the best overall prospect. But probably 1, 2, 3. Again, it's just quarterbacks are so teams are picky about quarterbacks and the style of quarterbacks. It's not just a coaching or front office to pick at that point too. It's also an ownership pick. Not that Jaden Daniels or Drake May wouldn't be an ownership pick, but it's once you're doing that, especially that top pick, you're marrying yourself to that guy. And if you fall out, you're going to have massive ramifications. So will be interesting to follow. I agree with you, Scott. I do think it'll be quarterback 1, 2, 3, but I think there's a possibility at 3 that if a guy they like there doesn't make it, then they don't go that way. The real question is what happens now that you have an air raid guy at offensive coordinator at the Commanders. Are they going to, there's been a lot of, I think it's just purely rumors and speculation about the Caleb Williams and the Commanders, maybe, flirtations. He is from Maryland. I think he does have a relationship with Cliff Kingsbury as well. So we'll see. But let's say Caleb Williams still goes 1. Would the air raid 10 personnel offensive coordinator and Cliff Kingsbury prefer Jaden Daniels to a Drake May? I mean, considering what we saw with Kyler Murray out there and, playing a little more air raid style there at LSU, it's possible. So we'll see.
I think they're both throwers that you don't have to worry about that. It's one like where you don't have Shane Steichen take Anthony Richardson in a system like that. But I think Daniels and I think Jaden Daniels and Drake May are both good throwers on that. I mean, Bo Nix might fit that type of system as well, with a lot of underneath quick passing game where the quick passing game is an extension of your running game. Wanted to let me see. It was I've already got it showing. Here we go for JB. He says, did Michael Penix and Bo Nix not perform well? I'm seeing conflicting reports. They were okay. That's why you're seeing conflicting reports. There was nothing there that made you go, oh yeah. It was more for Penix. Penix has a better arm. If I'm looking at this in this setting, Penix's arm impressed me more than Bo Nix. Joe Milton's arm impressed me more than both of them, to be honest with you. It was right there. So in this setting, Joe Milton and Spencer Rattler did more to help themselves, but they came in much lower. Bo Nix and Michael Penix are coming in being talked about top 15 picks. Do you take them in the first round? And Michael, I would like Michael Penix as a prospect better, but the injury scared the hell out of you. Bo Nix, you keep just trying to find yourself to talk yourself into it. He's fine. There's phrases you use on this, like, he's milk toast, or I don't know what it is, Nick. You always say something funny. He's fine. He's accurate. He's smart. He's safe. He's just kind of meh. And if I'm in the top 12, top 15, I don't want meh at quarterback. I want to be excited about my quarterback. And I think he's a reach up there that high. I think Bo Nix is a reach that high, and I think Michael Penix is a danger that high because of the injury history.
Yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't be okay taking Nix until 25 at the earliest, and even then, I'm probably more day 2 with both those guys. Taking a swing on Bo Nix in the first round is kind of like bunting to get on base, right? It's just like, okay, well, you made it, but I'm not excited at all. And you have low upside when you're bunting to get on base. So I don't know. The frame is okay. Seems like a smart kid. How much better is he going to get? Where is he at in terms of his overall development? The most starts of any quarterback in college football history because of the COVID and NIL stuff.
Well,
so
here's what I do want to say, though. With 45 touchdowns against 3 interceptions, when I look at the stats, he doesn't need to get any better. He's good. Plug him in, accurate, all that. The stats are there. But I plug in and Alex Colbert comes in here and says, go get Jay McCarthy. Last night on the Mile High Huddle podcast, Zach asked me before he says, who helped themselves the most, about the quarterbacks. And I was like, JJ McCarthy. I watched one throw from JJ McCarthy, and I'm like, I want him over Bo Nix. The arm talent, it's just striking. I'm like, that's what I want to see, is rolling right and throwing a dime on a line 40 yards down the field, even behind him, throwing almost a reverse pass. I'm like, that's what I want to see from my quarterback. And then, You plug in some extra after I just watched 3 days of Bo Nix. You plug in some Bo Nix, and it's like, oh, here's a looper to a wide open post pattern, and here's a looper to across a post corner, that's wide open. You're like, those are his only downfield throws. I'm like,
can't really drive
trying
the ball.
to, because he could go. Because as Rusty, he asked a question, what's your opinion on Bo Nix? Could be unbelievable, could be third or fourth rounder. Rusty, do you remember when the year the Falcons took Desmond Ridder, and that was a bad quarterback class, but Malik Willis goes down to the Senior Bowl and shows off tools. The problem is he wasn't hitting the broadside of a barn, but he was throwing it well, he was running it well, and there was actually articles coming out about him going top 5. Where did he fall? Was it 4th round?
I think so.
Fourth round. I don't see that in Bo Nix, but it's the same reason we said, is Arthur Blank really going to fire Arthur Smith? That you look at this and go, the league is so quarterback crazy that it only takes one team to fall in love with a guy to overdraft him. And if anybody's going to get overdrafted, it's going to be a quarterback, especially a quarterback that's got good numbers like Bo Nix. But physically speaking, as a prospect, when I watch Bo Nix, I say, meh. I don't want meh in the first round. That's what I think, Rusty. I'd be happy with him in the middle of the second. I don't want him in the first, Rusty. That's my opinion. And we can put this on cold takes, in a couple of years when he tears the league up, because it's a tough position to evaluate.
Don't you get Kenny Pickett from watching him? I mean, just like, it's like, okay, he's got okay size. Like, you like the size. He'll tuck it and run. He's not like dynamic truly, but like good enough. And then you watch the arm and it's like, damn, man, what some of the tight windows, are you going to be able to drive it? I have questions there. Just does not inspire. You can win some games with him, but does not inspire. I just get really strong Kenny Pickett vibes, which, good team, good supporting cast, rookie contract. You might have something there. Where are you going with that beyond that? Because you're not drafting a quarterback just for the rookie contract. So yeah, Jeremy loves Bo Nix. He's fine. He's fine. I just do not see this, no doubt, first rounder, top 12 pick kind of guy.
Yeah.
And also,
he's
again,
a safe pick. Again, I wouldn't mind him on my team, but I don't want to. First rounder, you start talking about placing your eggs in. This is my guy of the future for the most part. So I'm not overly. And George Fox, this is Falcons. We'll be talking. We'll be going to Broncos here shortly. But do you think the Broncos would trade back and get a second round pick, then draft a quarterback from Tennessee? Look good to me. Joe Milton, and Michael says he thought that Milton looked horrible. I didn't. In that setting, he may have, and it may have biased you going in because I didn't watch him at Tennessee, and there were some concerns there. But you go through the comments from Tennessee fans on the video, and it's, where was this all year? Where? Oh, look how good he is when he's got receivers that can actually catch. Roman Wilson was very good. I thought him and Ricky Pearsall out of Florida were the two best performances. So good that they just said, to hell with it, we're out of here after Wednesday's practice. But I thought Milton looked like the guy that I wouldn't mind drafting. And okay, now let's talk about sitting and see how he develops. I kind of poo-pooed the talk of developing quarterbacks, but there are exceptions to that. There's experience with a lot of these, but how much is Bo Nix going to develop? Michael Penix has played 100 games. How much is he going to develop? Either they're good enough or they're not. Well, a guy like Milton might take that next step, because he hasn't really played a ton. So maybe, listen, I teased the mock draft. So let's get to that real quick, unless I see any super chats come in that are going to make us talk about that first. But let me bring this up here real quick, and we'll run through a quick. We've got maybe 10 minutes to do this, Nick.
I set the next one for 6:40. So we got
okay. Let's go. Let's do this real quick, and we can go 7 rounds. I want needs down, and I want positional value up, because with PFF boards, they have Jaden Daniels ranked low, and he's available to the Falcons every single time, and I just don't see that happening. But if I'm doing a mock draft, I'm not going to pass him over either.
I might update the board here pretty soon as well.
Yeah, hopefully. So let's hit Falcons, and we'll hit enter draft, and we are on the clock. So let's get us started here. And Jeremy says Milton is unbelievably inaccurate. Good luck with that. Yeah, we'll see. He was, like I said, in that setting, where I watched them for 3 days. He wasn't any more or less accurate than any of the others. They had 7 quarterbacks there. They had 6 guys. So then the other 6 guys, he looked good. From that setting, Joe Milton may have been the number 1 prospect there based on the traits, the size, the athleticism, and the arm. So again, I'm not
making
taking
out
a
of the
guy
top
before
100.
I look more than just Senior Bowl. So
yes, somebody will take a shot on him in the top 100.
So let's go start draft. Yeah, see, that's the thing is he's always there. Maybe it happens, Nick. I even popped it up. Maybe he falls. Maybe we've got what 3 months for this to happen. My question is if he falls out of the top 3, he's probably fallen out of the top 20 because he's fallen, not just to 8. For him not to get taken in at 2 or 3, something's gone wrong. And if it's gone wrong enough that he's not going at 2 or 3, he's not going at 8.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that from what I've heard, the Patriots really like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake May. And if he falls to 4, you could see a trade happening there. I think if he falls to 3, he's not falling past 6. Somebody's moving up for him, especially with the QB needy teams in the middle of the first round. So I still think he goes pretty high, and we're on trade watch then, in my opinion, to see how it falls. In this situation, I would be, if we can just take Jaden Daniels if you want. I'm curious if Dallas Turner is still available. Yes, he's an option. I saw him down there. I think he's definitely available at 8. Honestly, the 2 guys here I think that are the most realistic over everything is Dallas Turner or Terrion Arnold.
Jeremy, get some coffee, brother. We're not talking about he's a big Bo Nix fan. So, and then we start saying good things about Joe Milton and start saying bad things about Nix. Let me help you out here. I would take Bo Nix before I would take Joe Milton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Easily.
We're talking about guys moving around a little bit. Would I take a chance on Joe Milton in the 3rd? Yes, I probably would. Do I want Joe Milton at 12, 8? No.
Absolutely not.
I do not. Do I want Bo Nix there? No, not really. Would I take Bo over Joe? Yes. Yes, I would. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's move on. We'll put a little sugar in that iced tea for you, Jeremy. You're a little salty this morning, brother.
I get it. I mean, if you like Bo Nix, we're not Bo Nix fans. I mean, to the extent of him in the top 12, we don't have
to where are you ranking these guys? So that's very different.
I would get probably fired for it in the end, but I might lean with the potential and the unknown in JJ McCarthy versus the 4 years older Penix /
I'm
Nix.
Taking McCarthy. I put McCarthy on the front page of this. He's in the I would take McCarthy over Penix and Nix right now. He's 3 years younger, and there's a lot to like there.
Yeah, but more risk. So I'm between Dallas Turner and Terrion Arnold here. If you don't want to go Jaden Daniels, just for the sake of the mock, if you want to go with the highest upside edge rusher, I believe that's Dallas Turner. But Terrion Arnold is an unbelievable cornerback, and I think that he is could end up being a top 6 pick by the time it's said and done. Right now, I think he's a little bit underrated in this overall format. So I think those 2 guys are very much in the cards for the Falcons here, and would be fantastic.
It's the Atlanta Falcons, and I've got a choice between 2 guys I like at edge and corner. That's not a decision anymore. Say it with me, family. Pass rusher, edge. Yeah. We want the edge. Now, if you like Arnold better than Turner and you think he's a better prospect, fine. But if you've got a corner and you've got an edge equal on your board, you're going edge. It's just an out. That's not really even a discussion in here. And I would fight and get fired if somebody argued with me that in a draft room on draft day. Someone said, "I want the corner. We got to get the corner. We really need him." Like, I know you guys are both Jimmy Lake and Raheem Morris. I know you're both defensive back guys. I don't care. I'm going to make your job easier in the defensive backfield by getting a pass rush for you that we haven't had here in Atlanta in ever. No, it's been a while. So we're going edge. And that
there is a possibility
on that board. You're taking Jaden Daniels. You're taking your quarterback. Yeah. Man, he ain't going to be there.
No, there is a possibility too that you just simply have Terrion Arnold rated higher than your guy in Dallas Turner. In which case, you don't overthink it. Just take the guy you like more, especially because it's not like you're debating a safety or a guard versus an edge rusher. That's a different conversation. Cornerback versus edge, especially with where the Falcons are team building wise. If you like Arnold more, I wouldn't overthink it. But you need to edge more. So that's a good pick in the end. Now we're on the pick at 43. Best player on the board is Tyler Guyton. I've heard that he's probably going to go in the top half of the first round.
Yeah, I don't want to tackle. I don't necessarily want to center either. There's tackle. Wide receiver is, but I might go. Would I go back-to-back edge on this one with Chop Robinson? How come he's falling that low?
Designated pass rusher, not much production despite the traits, and a lot of concerns about the run defense.
I like safety, but not here. I think we can get safety a little bit later. Running back, tight end. Adisa Isaac, look at this. It's tackle edge. Well, there we just talked about wide receiver. How about Ricky Pearsall?
Too early for me.
Yeah, and then where do you go? I mean, I would take Chop Robinson again. I like Xavier Legette. I don't know if I like him here. I don't dislike him though.
Honestly, I might be a little bit extra here, but I gotta trust my board in the end. And I think that for me, it would be between Tyler Guyton and the next guy would be Barton. Barton is a true five position player. He's this left tackle from Duke, but he's going to play center. I think that he is a phenomenal player there. And how long are you going to be still on the? Oh gosh, I can't even think of the center right now. The center train for the Falcons, who's been
Drew Dahlman.
He's been fine. So I'm looking at Guyton. If you really want wide receiver,
I'm going Guyton on this one because I might be just one more year of. I'm saying McGlinchey. I'm getting my teams mixed up. The other Mick, Caleb McGarry.
The one other here, you're talking wide receiver. Worthy is considered the most explosive, fastest wide receiver in this draft class. He's a legit track guy. He's a little small, but he's played 2 years ago. Like, why does he have drops? He had a broken hand that they didn't disclose until after the season. He's a totally different type of player than you have right now. If you want to inject athleticism and explosiveness into your offense, Worthy might be the best big play down the field speed receiver in the class.
I'm going to trust the board here and go Guyton, knowing that I want to just lean in and trust the depth of the wide receiver class. And I'm going to get Tyler Guyton, knowing that one, Jake Matthews is getting older. Two, McGarry has been too inconsistent for me. So I'll go Tyler Guyton on this one, which runs us down into the third round. There's Michael Pratt. No, Michael Pratt maybe in the seventh. I like that you need a safety, and this would be a plug-and-play starter. So is it too high for a safety? No, not in the 70s. I don't mind going safety at this spot. Roman Wilson is a hell of a wide receiver too. I'm okay at either one of those spots. So I might ask myself, wide receiver or safety? Tyke Smith is a good safety as well. So I think I probably want to go wide receiver first over safety, knowing I can get a safety later also, or maybe even two when I get into like 189 and 201. Maybe I go back-to-back safety on there.
Yeah.
And right now I'm looking at cornerback. I'm looking at free agents because remember, all this will happen after free agency.
Yeah. I think Roman Wilson's the pick here.
Yep. I like that pick there. We'll go wide receiver. Quarterback Spencer Rattler's probably going to end up going higher than that. I think he'll end up going top 90, not too much higher. We didn't take a quarterback yet. That wouldn't be a bad pick.
I mean, he's not a bad pick right here. You're talking lottery ticket here, but
yeah,
you haven't taken one yet.
Yeah, there's a chance. Just say, oh, he's too short, and all the history that there's a chance he could be there. So I don't mind taking that one. That I like that pick. Jordan Travis, there's a developmental guy right there. Is Jordan Travis coming in? I like tight end AJ Barner. He was okay. I'm still looking to see if I can do a little bit better than okay. Javon Foster was okay.
Melton was really good at the Senior Bowl. You passed him. He's the he
was he a corner? There we go then.
Yes.
Yep. I remember him. I remember seeing that Rutgers out there.
Bo Melton's brother. So I thought he was pretty good this last year.
Jaheim Bell is a tight end fullback. That in the where are we in the 6th round?
Yep.
Very versatile player. He can do some. Did we go back to back corner? We did. That was a corner, no. JB.
Yeah.
Jaheim Bell. I like Jaheim Bell. He's a very versatile player, kind of an H-back type. In the 6th round makes a lot of sense. Cohen's okay. I haven't seen Frank Gore, but everybody was asking about him after Shrine Bowl, so he must have done something.
Yeah, he's, I mean, well-known name as
Yeah,
well.
obviously.
Isaiah Davis. I mean, we're getting to the point here where I know a lot of like the running
I
backs
know Brandon Coleman, he was
names.
there. He did okay. Keith Randolph was okay. But I'm going to go Jaheim Bell on this just to get a Swiss Army knife H-back tight end in there. The Parker Hesse type of role. I think he's thicker than that. And then what do we have? 2 more picks left.
It's going to be all running backs because we turned up the positional value so much.
Well, we can scroll down running backs. Miles Murphy, Dillon, Isaiah Davis, Dial, Fenwick, Randolph. We need a big body on the offensive line. And Jared Wiley, okay at tight end.
Tight end.
We went tight end earlier. Delmar Glaze, he wasn't all bad for Maryland. Another tackle inside outside. And Kingsley wasn't all bad either out of Florida. And let's get an interior lineman too to round out the class. So we're gonna get dinged on our grade. I don't necessarily care, but we went edge, tackle, receiver, quarterback. Spencer Rattler in the 4th is a steal. In the 4th, and Cedric says I watched Rattler play. I'd pass, but I get it. No pun intended. But that's in the neighborhood of where it would be good value. Jeremy asked, "What about tight end Brevin Spanford?" I didn't see him come up. I really like him. We'll talk about him next. And Rusty says, "I'm glad Scott's not the GM." Again, you've got to go where the board is. Max Melton corner, Jaheim Bell tight end, Kyler, and I went with guys I know towards the end here. First 3 rounds were good. Last bunch of rounds, Ghost up 6. Go look at the history of the NFL draft. Just go type in Atlanta Falcons draft ref and go and look. And most of those guys, there's a lot of questions there. Anthony asked, am I going to do a mock draft for the Miami Dolphins? What we'll do on Friday is we'll do a mock draft. I'll do a mock draft of the first round so that they'll get included in there. Tyreek asked thoughts on Jordan Travis before the injury. Yes, I think he would be a good developmental type pick also. But when you get below 100, they're big gambles. They're not that big of gambles. You're not paying those guys anything. So you're trying to go get
scratch tickets.
Yeah, you're hoping to hit on some guys. And again, we went through this in 5 minutes, y'all? So
first time I do want to answer Stephen B's comment here real quick about mock drafts are more dominated by big school players than real drafts. Don't want to go too far down because we got to get over to the Broncos, but that's going to change here in the next 3 years because the small school guys are transferring out to the big schools. I heard Jim Nagy talk about it this year where it's like, we're really bummed about our small school showing our names at the Senior Bowl. And it's because a lot of these guys are going back and transferring up to bigger schools. So you're, North Dakota states, you're like tiny, like Fordham or, Richmond, weird helmets that you have down there from small schools. That is going to start to diminish as players from small schools that can play are scouted and move on up into bigger programs.
Michael has a great question. What QB did you grab in free agency? That's a great question because you had to have addressed the quarterback before you got to the draft.
And yeah, sorry, Courtney, I called them. I scratch tickets. It's because the odds, you pay little, they don't cost a lot, and you can hit, and it's a big payoff if you hit, but the odds of hitting are not good. So day 3 picks, scratch tickets. I always say like, oh, you got to take a quarterback here. It's a day 3 pick. You got to hit this position. If you're depending on anything day 3, it's like, again, I need to win the scratch ticket to feed my family or pay off this loan.
That's because Nick was calling them lottery picks, and I told him to stop because that is a different thing in basketball. An NBA draft lottery is a good thing in the draft. So I said, okay, let's not call them lottery. So he's calling them scratch tickets on those when I get. Yeah, Pigs says Russell Wilson, and Jeffrey says I just subscribed. I'm here on the New England Patriots fan. Hopefully that's all right. Yeah, absolutely. We're talking a lot of draft, and it will do have a lot to from here until we're going to do a lot of free agency. We're going to do a lot of draft for the next couple of months. Yep. So, remember where you are when you're in Atlanta Falcons chat. And Friday we do an all football one, so it's neutral. But when you're just be a good guest, that's all we say. This is a good group of fans. They will be good to you if you're good to them. So, and Tyreek, you may have come in a little bit late. He says Jaden went 11. Tyreek, we would have taken if Jaden Daniels is there at 8, we take Jaden Daniels. It's just we couldn't fathom the idea of him being, we feel like we're cheating the mock draft if we take Jaden Daniels. So yes, we would take Jaden Daniels without question at number 8. No questions asked. Rusty says he's tired of the 3rd and 4th round quarterbacks. I get it, but take them anyway. They don't cost you anything. They're backups, and then maybe you get lucky. Again, Nick says maybe you get on that scratch-off ticket. Maybe you hit the lottery. Maybe. For a 4th round pick, yeah. I mean, what are you hoping to get out of the 4th round? Maybe a backup guy, a special teams guy? Absolutely. So listen, we are going to get out of here real quick. We're intentionally being bad at the mock draft. No, we're trying to be more realistic than
Also, it's
than
boring
what,
if
than
you
what
take
the
the same
simulator
player
is
every time.
showing. We're trying to give you an idea of what's a little more realistic out there than Jaden Daniels at 8, Jaden Daniels at 11. So on that note, we're going to hop out of here. We'll be back on Wednesday. We'll start talking more players. We can get into more of the takes, so you're not just taking a hot take, a one sentence, and spinning it off on your own tangent, Jeremy, on the day. So we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll talk for an hour. More draft, more quarterback, more Falcons, more Raheem Morris. His press conferences today, but we're going to hop over to Mile High Huddle to do some Broncos for breakfast. We will see y'all next time. Thanks for being here, everybody.